Hello, my friends. Welcome to Marvel Mayhem, the series where I watch all of the content that Marvel has produced for the television, for the big screen, and I ask myself one simple question: is this worth watching? Now, I just got finished recording an episode where I reviewed 1979's Captain America, and I asked if it was the worst movie ever made. And this is the sequel of sorts to that movie. This is 1979's Captain America Death Too Soon, or is it called Dead Too Soon? Should be Death Too Soon. Yeah, it's Death Too Soon. Much better title than Dead Too Soon. It continues to star Reb Brown as Steve Rogers, Captain America, and I did have some uncharitable things to say about Reb Brown last time. I believe I said that he had the charisma of a potato. So let's see if he manages to do a better job in this film. But the film stars Christopher Lee as General Miguel. And what is the movie about? The movie is about the star-spangled hero must battle a villain's plan to poison America with a chemical that horrifically accelerates the aging process. So basically, for whatever reason, the terrorist wants to bomb America. Well, actually, he's threatening. It's extortion. So he says if he doesn't get him his money, he's going to make everybody in America old people, and then they'll die. So both this and the other movie were created as sort of pilots for a potential Captain America television series. And the reason why that wasn't, the reason given why the television series wasn't picked up was that Marvel was going to charge them $50,000 per episode in licensing fees for Captain America, whereas they were only charging Universal, which is the company behind these productions, we're only charging them $2,500 for the Incredible Hulk per episode. And I don't have any evidence to prove this, but I don't buy that that's the explanation. I think Marvel saw the first film and they were like, my God, this is horrible. This is so bad. We're not going to let you do this unless you pay us a lot of money. So I think that's what happened. All right, so that's a little bit of the introduction to the film. Let's talk about what I actually thought about it. So it starts with an amazing recap of the first film, and it kind of gives you the impression that the film was much more exciting and had a lot more momentum than it really does. And whereas in the last film, the action was very, very slow paced, this film actually starts with action. And I actually laughed for the first time in either of these movies because, so basically, there's this absurd situation. Steve is sitting in this park and he's painting people, and he's painting this old woman, and the old woman tells him that there's been a bunch of robberies, how these muggers are going around and they're taking old people's money. So Steve sets up a sting operation with this old lady, hoping to use her as bait, I guess, so these violent people will attack her and take her money. So they come and he attacks them, and then he chases them on his motorcycle, but he's supposed to have super speed. Not like, I don't think Captain America has super speed like the Flash or Superman has super speed, but he has like incredible strength and agility. So he's supposed to be like the peak human specimen, like a super soldier. So he could definitely run faster than a bunch of thugs. But anyway, he gets on the motorcycle. He gets into a fight with them, And he just stands there and he throws his shield, which, if you remember from the last episode, is this plastic dorky looking thing. And then he throws it, and then it moves like a boomerang, and it hits this guy on the back of the head. And it's just like a flimsy plastic thing, but he falls over, and it's a very dumb but funny, funny scene. The movie's still boring, but there's more action than in the first movie. Christopher Lee manages to be his charismatic self as the villain. And Steve goes to the docks. I'm not sure why he goes to the docks, but he's going to the docks, and he's not fighting bad guys. Like, these dock workers are not part of the conspiracy that he's been uncovering. They're just dock workers, and he just randomly starts beating them up, which is crazy. And the problem with the action in this movie is when you have a superhero movie, in order to understand that the power of your hero, you need to have him fight very strong or very competent people, not just people who happen to be working at the dock driving a forklift. Kind of crazy. So, yeah, so the problem, yeah, is that he's beating these people up with his dorky plastic shield, and they're like normal people. There's a one interesting part where he goes to this town, and people are acting like they're in some kind of cult, and they're not talking to him, and they're not welcoming him, and they're kind of ignoring him, and he's trying to like investigate what's going on, and the answers get like more and more abrasive towards him, and eventually he's attacked when he's painting. So there's kind of plot reasons for that to happen, but it kind of feels out of place in the movie. So good thing to say about the movie is that the sound editing is a bit more professional than in the first movie. At least you don't hear the ocean for the first 15 minutes. Steve Rogers as a character is more developed, but Reb Brown does have some very odd line readings, and he's made to say some very odd things. Like, I think that there's some line where he's talking about his dad, or somebody else is talking about his dad, and then out of the blue, Captain America says, "Yes, of course I loved my father." Like, okay, we believe you, really, really, we do. So in the first movie, the supporting cast was there just for exposition, but in this movie, it feels more like a real movie. So, but that doesn't stop it from having a lot of ridiculous things in it. There's a scene where he gets a glider for some reason, and his motorbike is attached to the glider. I'm not sure what the 70s and the 80s really, like, what was the attraction to having these gliders? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Another thing that is very strange is that I think I have seen pictures from this movie, and I think if you're a Marvel fan, you may have seen pictures from this movie too. And I had a completely different image of what Reb Brown actually looks like. Reb Brown is really buff. There's a scene where he takes off his shirt, and you can see his muscles, which are well defined if you're into that kind of thing. So maybe it's worth checking out the movie for that. But the costume, it does him no favors. The Captain America costume, when he puts it on, he looks like he's a 45-year-old man who's balding and pudgy. Like me. but he's not a 45-year-old man. He's not balding. He's not pudgy. And Worse, he's got this motorcycle helmet because he's riding the motorcycle, and it pushes his cheeks together and gives him like a chipmunk look. So if I was Red Brown, I'd be like, guys, we have to think about this costume. It doesn't look really good. Another, it's not like a deal breaker or anything, but another weird thing about the movie is that he's Captain America, and theoretically he's working for the American government, but the American government doesn't seem to be too interested in him. Like, he's not on secret missions as a super soldier. He's just kind of fighting low level. Well, I mean, I guess he stumbles upon some highfalutin plots and stuff, but that's not, the government didn't make him do that. It's more like a freelance kind of spy, which, if you know anything about spies, well, I guess there are some freelance spies, but it's weird. Um, yeah, one more thing about him beating up regular people. Uh, So Red Brown, as I said, he could, if he knew how to fight, and I don't know anything about Red Brown, like maybe he does know how to fight. If Red Brown knew how to fight, he could beat those people up without superpowers. So what you want, as I mentioned before, is you want a a situation that shows him have a higher amount of abilities than anybody else. But this movie does not provide that. So it's not a great film. I wouldn't say that it's the worst Marvel film of all time, or even the worst film of all time, unlike the other film in this two film series. But I would say it's not great. I give it like a 4.5 out of 10. Like, I think that is interesting. And if you wanted to watch a movie about Captain America from the 70s and you were going to choose those two, I would choose this one. Because even though it's boring and it drags, there's still more interesting parts than the first movie. So I liked it a bit more than Captain America 1979. But what did you think? If you saw this movie, did you like it? What are your thoughts? Put those thoughts in the comment section. If you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 900 subscribers by the end of April, and it's completely doable. So if you like what I do, please subscribe. Please leave a comment and tune into my next video in this series about, it'll be some Marvel related thing. I don't quite remember what it is. Oh, maybe I'll just tell you. Maybe I'll look at my notes and I'll tell you what it is. Oh, it's Red Sonja. Red Sonja. Can't wait to talk about that. And you shouldn't be able to wait to watch it. And in fact, I think I'm recording these at the same time. So you can probably go and watch it right now. Go watch it right now. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.